Well, greetings everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are, or good evening. I would like to welcome everyone to the October quarterly meeting for the Society for Creative Anachronisms. My name is Dan Watson. I'm the board chairman. We are coming to you through the wonder of technology from various parts all around the world. We have all the board members here and corporate officers and some of the other greater officers that are here for their reports. What we'd like to do is to go through first and sort of introduce everyone so that you can put a face with some of the names that you've been corresponding with. So I'd like to ask all of the people that are panelists today to introduce themselves and your title as we go down through the list. We're going to start at the very top. If Rusty is here, well, we're actually going to skip Rusty because he's not here yet. Bonnie, let's start with you.
Yes, sir. Hi, I'm Bonnie Stringer. I'm the Society Exchequer. I'm known as Marcel Aurelian, and I live in Glen Aubin. Go Rams.
Don't wait for me. Go right ahead, Bridget.
Good morning, everyone, from the Fair Kingdom of Lockhart. My name is Bridget Costello. I am your Communications and Social Media Officer, and it is currently very early, so I apologise for any lag.
Go ahead, CA editor.
Sorry, was that me?
That is you, yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to change the name and I stopped things sort of, I think my connection was bad. Hi, I'm Ellen Rawson and I'm the editor of Complete Anachronist and I reside in Drachenboot in the Principality of Insula Draconis. In other words, I live in England. And it's 6 p.m. here, almost dinner time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Craig Carter. I'm a director on the board of directors. In the SCI, I'm known as Drake. I'm a Duke and a Knight from Onstiora, and this is my last meeting.
Hello, everyone. I am Dale Fong Frederick. I am the vice chair of the board of directors. I am known as Sir Jabril Aldakel from the East Kingdom. Hello, everybody, and good morning.
Natalie, I think you might be next on the list.
Hey everyone, my name is Natalie Degerstrom. I do apologize. I'm having some technological issues this morning, so unfortunately I do not have a webcam. So like I said, my name is Natalie. I am a director and I live in the East Kingdom in the great state of Maine. And I work with the kingdoms of Middle, Atlantia, and Meridies, as well as our Marshall community. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gigi Colson. I split my time between Glen Aubin and Ontier, so I'm going to say go Lions for Ontier since the Rams have already been covered. I am the ombudsman for the kingdoms of Athelmark, Avakal, Jackenwald, Eldemir, Lockback, and for the corporate DEI officer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Smith. I am the Society Herald. I am known in the SCA as Emma de Featherston, and I live in the almost Principality of Vindheim in the Kingdom of Onstiora.
Hi, I'm Jessica Van Hanem. I am known as Zara in the SCA, and I live in the Mid-Realm. Oh, and I'm the DEI officer.
Well then, hello, my name is Rusty Lloyd. I have the honor of doing corporate IT for the Society and the board, and glad to be here today.
John, I think you're next.
Yes, I thank you, Rusty, for saving me from getting caught with my mute on. It's much appreciated. Hello, I am John Fulton. I'm the Society president in the known inside the Society as Duke John the Bear Killer. I live in the Most wonderful Kingdom of Glenavon. Go Rams. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leslie Luther Fulton. I'm the executive assistant to the board. In the SCA, I'm Countess Jane Fallada, and I also am from Glenavon. Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Hello, I'm Liz Schreier. I'm known in the society as Ella Sedanin Dermata. I am the society seneschal, and I live in Callantyre.
Hi, everyone. I'm Louise Ducray. I'm the VP for Corporate Operations. And in the society, I'm known as Louise Ducray, which is actually just my name so far.
Hi, I'm Mazella Tia. I am the corporate treasurer in the SCA. I'm Mistress Alicia Gabriel de Fischer, and I reside in the Kingdom of Glenavon. Go Rams!
I am not from Glenavon. I am Patrick Anderson, in-house counsel in the society. I'm Baron Gabriel Nordskogen from North Shield.
Good morning. I'm Pug Boehner. I live in Onsteora, known in the society as Master Phelim Gervais. I will be replacing Craig Carter at the end of this meeting.
Hello, I'm Ray Dubose. I'm the Society Marshal. I reside in Onsteora, used to reside in Glenavon. Go Rams. And go Star, whatever, yeah. My SCA name is Count Ray Rabamont, and that's it.
Hey guys, I'm Bart Regner. I'm a director. I'm known in the society as Count Bartholomew of Illyria. I'm from Meridies. Roll Tide.
Everyone, I'm Chet Shepard. I am the Emergency Replacement Society Seneschal. So as long as nothing happens to Liz, you'll never see or hear from me other than right here. I'm from Meridies. I'm Graf Ulrich von Brandenburg. So Meridies Wild Stallions.
Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Dan Watson. I'm the board chairman in the SCA. I'm known as Sir Bartholomew Hightower, and I live in the Kingdom of Artemisia, mundanely Utah. And I'm very happy to be here with you. Well, the introductions having been completed, I would entertain a motion to begin the quarterly meeting. From anyone.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we begin the quarterly meeting of the Society for Creative Anachronism and take items out of order as necessary.
So we have a motion and I assume a second. I see a second from Director Dale Fong-Frederick by consensus. We will begin the meeting. And as a reminder to all of our board members, this is Craig's last day. And so we're looking for some of the rest of you to step up here and figure out how to throw those motions in there at just the right time. First on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. Leslie Luther Fulton, I believe that is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to present the July 18, 2021 quarterly meeting minutes, the July 27, 2021 conference call meeting minutes, the August 17th, 2021 conference call meeting minutes, the September 2nd, 2021 conference meeting minutes, and the September 25th, 2021 conference call meeting minutes for your approval.
Thank you, Leslie. Do we need a separate motion for each of these, or can we?
You have been doing them. Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
You've been doing them all together. It's up to you. If there's one that's problematic, we can surely pull it out. But I thought they had all been reviewed and everything.
That's great. Are there any corrections to these minutes before we move to a vote for approval? Anyone? Seeing none, Chair recognizes Director Colson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the quarterly meeting minutes as listed and as presented by Leslie Luther Fulton.
Motion by Director Colson, second by Director Regner. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands.
Aye.
Put them down. Any, oh, thank you, Natalie. That's best way to raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved. Okay, let's move on to item 3, recurring business. Society Seneschal, Liz Schreier, I think this is your topic.
There is one status change, and I did cover it in action items in my report. Do you want it here or elsewhere? Do you want it here or there?
We can have it here.
Okay, give me a second to find it then. We have one dissolution, which requires board approval. That is the Shire of Adamastor, which is Cape Town, South Africa. According to the Drakkenwald Kingdom Seneschal, most of the major players have moved away from South Africa, and the small handful of remaining members don't believe the group's viable. They've requested dissolution. The kingdom tried to work with them to forestall that, but that they did not find a way to stay viable. And the Kingdom Seneschal and I would regretfully request that the board grant the wish and dissolve the group.
Okay, do we need a motion for this? All right, Chair recognizes Director Fong Frederick.
Mr. Chair, I move to dissolve the Shire of, I'm sorry, Liz, what was the name? Adamastor?
Adamastor, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it looks like Adamastor to me.
That
It's
place.
Adamastor. It's Adamastor, says the Drakkenwald.
Thank you. Effective immediately.
Motion by Dale Fong Frederick, second by Director Regner. All in favor? Please put your hands up.
Aye.
Natalie? Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Regretfully, the motion carries.
No.
Liz?
No.
That's the only status change this quarter that requires board attention.
Okay, next is the quarterly meeting schedule. And again, I'm going to ask everyone to mute. Darcy O'Neill, I think your mic is hot.
Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. I'm not there. I'm not showing up. I can't.
Louise,
I can't. It will just drive me crazy.
Can you mute everybody, please? And I'll put my mic back on.
Yeah, just sign off.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Hello.
Quarterly meeting schedule. Louise, I think this is yours.
Yes, so tentatively we have plans for the next year of meetings. We have, these are all currently virtual. Tentatively, we'll see what happens. Obviously, it can be a long year. January 30th, 2022, April 24th, July 24th, and October 16th.
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
That's it.
So all the we have all the corporate officers that are going to be invited to the virtual meeting. Is that correct? Is that item number 2?
Oh, yes. Yes. And then, sorry, I thought we were taking it line by line. Yes. And then for item number 3, we have a tentative November 29th follow-up conference call and a December 28th.
Thank you, Louise. Are there any objections among the board members to the establishment of this schedule at this time? Of course, we can revise it later if necessary, but seeing no objection by acclamation or by consensus, we'll accept this as the schedule of note moving forward. Okay, 3D warrants, LLF. We're going to cover that later. Is that correct?
Oh, actually, I have no warrants. At least I have not seen any. So I don't think there are any this quarter.
Very good. Okay, and then 3E, ongoing projects, also yours?
Hold on a second. I was trying to fix something. Ongoing projects. Okay, board recruiting is actually Natalie. That should be your item 1. As for board representation, if you want to go ahead and look at that, I have no action on that.
Okay, yeah, Natalie, forgive me for skipping over that. No. Do you have anything for board recruiting at this time?
Just to let everyone know, as we do at honestly, every meeting, especially the ones that are public facing, I always want to communicate that, every 6 months, a board member steps down. Today, Craig is leaving us. It's going to be a huge hole for us, honestly. We have an amazing person stepping up into that role. So every 6 months, we have someone coming in and someone leaving. So please, if you are interested in doing this, if you know someone that you think would be interested in doing this, please recommend them to us. We can walk through the process. We can talk about it. If people have questions, obviously not today, but if anyone does have questions, they can reach out to me. So we are moving into our next wave of interviews coming up in the next couple months. So that will be exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to item 4, old business. First in there, item 4A is the Marshall's Handbook. Ray, do you want to tackle that one? Where is Ray? Is he still here?
I'm here. I think I unmuted myself and then muted myself again. Are you wanting me to just cover the handbook itself?
Yeah,
or my report?
My understanding is that there's just the Marshall's Handbook.
Yeah, there was a new Marshall's Handbook that was submitted along with a red line copy last board meeting, as well as a new Marshall's Handbook for rebated steel. I'm not sure if everybody's had a chance to read through it and take a look at it. If y'all have any questions that I can answer about the Marshall's Handbook and the new handbook for rebated steel at this time.
All right, thank you, Ray. As a reminder, those listening or those watching in, the directors have had time to review the proposed new handbook that is being offered or put forward by the Society Earl Marshall. We've had a couple of meetings now. We've seen this for several weeks and had a couple of different red line copies we moved through. Is there any further changes that are requested by the directors? Any further discussion? Chair recognizes Director Fong-Frederick.
I have a question for our Society Marshal. We received some commentary from the populace regarding the changes to the Marshall Handbook. Can you give us some explanation as to why you're seeking to remove the rebated steel from the Armored Combat Manual?
Most of the different disciplines within the marshalate side have their own handbooks. This is one that was put into this handbook prior to me stepping up. I looked at it and brought it in line with the rest of the handbooks. There was some confusion from the populace on some of the different standards between the two types of combat with regards to different armoring standards, footwear standards, stuff like that. So a lot of times people don't read the handbooks front to back. They just search for what they need in there, and they were coming up with information from the incorrect fighting type. Some people were looking at rules and such from rebated combat and thinking they pertain to rattan combat and vice versa. So to bring it in line with the rest of the handbooks that from the Society Marshal's office, chose to split it out into its own handbook.
Dale, does that answer your question? Anything else? Okay, are there any other comments? I see Ross, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
I was just prepared to make a motion if that's amenable.
Yeah, I think so. Remember, we're going to handle both the Marshal's Handbook and then the rebated blades Marshal's Handbook separately. So I'd like to see a separate motion for each one of those, please.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the rebated steel Marshal's Handbook as presented by the Society or Marshal.
Motion to approve the rebated steel Marshal's Handbook, seconded by Director Fong Frederick. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And hear you, Natalie. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Ross? Excuse me, Bart?
I would also like to move that we approve the changes to the existing Armored Combat Handbook as presented by the Society Earl Marshal, effective immediately.
Motion by Director Regner, second by Director Colson. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Again, the motion carries. And this would be a perfect time for me also to mention that if there are any questions among those that are watching, there's a question box where I think is it a chat box or question box? I can't quite see what you're seeing, but please make sure you type in your questions, and we'll take an opportunity later at the end of the meeting, or perhaps even after a short break, to go through those questions and answer some of those for you. Okay, moving on, we've got 4C, the Society Chronicler Policies Handbook. Stephanie, are you here?
No, Stephanie's not here. I'll be presenting it for her.
Okay.
So it
Go
is.
ahead, Louise.
It is the updated Chronicler Policies Handbook, which we sent out at the beginning of the month. So apologies, everyone. This is my first one, so I don't know if I'm supposed to move to accept it or if I'm just presenting it, but you've all seen it. Here it is. Let me know if you have any questions.
That is perfect. Any discussion, or would anyone like to proffer a motion? Dale, I saw your hand up.
I do not have any discussion. I'm prepared to make the motion.
You are cleared for takeoff.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Society Chronicler Policies Handbook as presented.
Thank you. Motion by Director Fong Frederick, second by, I'm looking, Director Carter. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And the motion carries. Very good. Okay, so now we move on to new business. We have some COVID-19 related variances on the agenda. Liz, I think that's you.
Okay, it's actually a bit of a misnomer. We're getting to a point where the COVID-related variances aren't as frequent as they used to be, and the first few I've got are fairly routine variances that don't necessarily have anything to do with COVID. First of all, the Kingdom of Glen Aubin, I granted a variance for the barony of Greenish's Summit, I think they pronounce it Samhain, I don't know. An event to hold business requiring prior announcement despite not appearing in the October edition of the Kingdom newsletter, which it should have because it's being held during October, due to, I understand, illness on the part of the event organizer. She was unable to get the flyer together in time, and the Kingdom asked for a variance so that they can hold court and such.
All right, I think we'd like to take these variances one at a time. So I would entertain a motion to approve the variance that Liz has just explained about, that thing that Liz just explained about. Anyone? And by convention, if you're the ombudsperson for a kingdom and you hear no one speak up, that'd be the perfect time for you to ombuds for your particular region. Chair recognizes Director Fong Frederick.
Ombudding. Mr. Chair, I move to uphold the variance granted by the Society Seneschal to the Kingdom of Glenavon on October 5th, 2021 to hold business requiring prior announcements despite not appearing in the October edition of the Kingdom newsletter due to unavoidable circumstances.
Outstanding.
That was impressive.
Do we have a second on this?
Hi guys, I'm back.
Frederick. Second by Director Carter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And the motion carries. Liz, next.
Okay, next one is out of Onstiora. A variance was granted to the barony of Namron to hold Namron Protectorate this weekend at a different site than the one that was published in the Kingdom newsletter due to an unavoidable last-minute site change. I would ask the board to uphold that variance.
Okay, motion.
Oh, that's me.
Chair recognizes Director Fong Frederick.
I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, I move to uphold the variance granted by the Society Seneschal on October 5th, 2021 to the Kingdom of Onstiora for the barony of Namron to hold Namron Protectorate at a different site than that published in the Kingdom newsletter due to an unavoidable last-minute site change.
Motion by Director Fong Frederick, second by Director Carter. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
Or speaking. Sorry, Natalie, keep forgetting. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Liz?
Okay, Dale, don't go anywhere. This is also Onstiora. I granted a variance to the barony of Loch Solier to hold their coastal grant baronials at a different site than that was published in the Kingdom newsletter due to flooding concerns with the original site. I would ask that the board uphold that variance.
Chair recognizes Director Fong Frederick.
Who is prepared this time? Mr. Chair, I move to uphold the variance granted by the Society Seneschal on October 5th, 2021 to the Kingdom of Onstiora for the barony of Loch Solier to hold coastal grant baronials at a different site than published in the Kingdom newsletter.
Motion by Director Fong Frederick, second by Director Regner. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And I understand as you're watching this that it may be a little tedious going through all these variances. You know, we certainly talked about this on the board ourselves, but the feeling is that if we're going to have a variance to a corpora or established policy, we really would like the directors to hear every single one of these rather than trying to handle them as one big group. And so we're very careful about making sure that each of these variances gets its time, even though we have a lot of faith in our Society Seneschal to make the right decision when she's working through these variances. Liz, floor is yours.
Okay, now we get into the COVID-related ones. I have a couple of variances that are related to the recent vaccine and testing policy that the board made. The first one, in Canada, the various provinces have pretty much enacted some kind of vaccine regulations of their own, and of course, we always follow modern law. The Kingdom of Eldermere, which is entirely contained in the province of Ontario, requested a variance because Ontario law is going to require them to do things a certain way on indoor events, and they wanted their indoor and outdoor rules to match, which required a slight tweak to the board's policy. So I granted a variance to the Kingdom of Eldermere to bring the policy into line with Ontario's provincial regulations, which require proof of vaccination for all indoor events, and those rules have to be followed. In Eldermere, at all SCA events, all persons aged 12 and over must produce either 1, proof of vaccination as defined by Ontario's proof of vaccination guidance, or 2, proof of a medical exemption granted by the Canadian Health Service as defined by the Ontario proof of vaccination guidance. No other exemption will be accepted. Negative COVID tests will not be accepted because they're not allowed in Ontario law. In addition, identification as described in the Ontario proof of vaccination guidance will be accepted. There are no exceptions to these rules. This variance only applies to events held within the Kingdom of Eldermere. I issued that variance on the 5th of October. I would ask that the board please uphold that variance.
The chairman would entertain a motion to uphold this variance and recognizes Director Colson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we uphold the variance granted to the Kingdom of Eldermere by the Society Seneschal on October 5th, 2021, allowing them to bring their COVID policy into line with Ontario's provincial regulations.
Thank you, Director Colson. Second by Director Regner. Any discussion? Of course, we've had an opportunity to discuss this earlier. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, Liz.
I do want to clarify one thing. Obviously the Ontario law was going to be followed no matter what. That did not require a variance. The problem was that the Ontario law only applies to events held indoors, and they just wanted their indoor and outdoor rules to match. And since that didn't quite match the board policy, that is the reason for the variance. Okay. One problem that has been brought to us, one concern by Kingdom Seneschals in kingdoms that are enacting the policy, the board's vaccination policy, is the way it's written right now. It requires just one person at a time checking vaccination cards. That's going to be a problem with large events. This has been brought up repeatedly by several kingdoms, and after a great deal of discussion and wording, and in conjunction with the president who works with me to implement these, we have reworked the policy, or part of the policy, a bit, and I want to read what I've got. This one came about, you all may not have seen it. Point 6 on the policy covered this, and we would like to have it read: the kingdom must check for proof of being fully vaccinated or a negative COVID test at an event. The event organizer may designate multiple people to perform the vaccination or negative COVID test check, where each person performing the check is responsible for all people whose last name begins within a specified subset of the alphabet. For example, one person for A through H, one person for I through M, etc. The event organizer or their designee shall maintain a list of names and times of the person or persons conducting the check at the entrance. A separate list shall be maintained for each alphabet group. Once the entrance is closed at the event, said person or persons will sign a statement at the bottom of the list of names and times, which reads: I have monitored the event entrance at the times noted above, and I have verified that each person aged 12 and over with last names blank through blank, you would insert the letters, entering the event during that time to have shown me proper identification, along with either proof of being fully vaccinated or a negative COVID test taken within 72 hours of the start of the event. The event organizer or their designee shall forward the signed statement or statements to the Kingdom Seneschal or their designee, who shall maintain such records in accordance with the standards for retention of waivers. We also added, because the original statement did not say age 12 or over, and at the moment, since children under 12 cannot be vaccinated, we are not requiring anything of them other than that they mask. This allows the kingdoms to set it. I mean, if it's a small event and they just want one person, it can be the whole alphabet, or they can set it up in whatever way works best for them. And I would ask that the board I guess it's making a change to the original policy. It's not exactly a variance.
That's correct. So at this point, we're looking for a motion to accept the new wording and amend the COVID safe policies for the SCA that were announced at the last that were announced earlier. Do we have a motion to? Do we have a motion on the floor to begin discussion here? Chair recognizes Director Fong Frederick.
Mr. Chair, I move to amend the September 25th, 2021 COVID safe policy regarding proof of vaccination or negative COVID-19 test effective immediately to replace point 6 with the language as presented by the Society Seneschal at today's meeting.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, seconded by Director Carter. Any discussion on this? So Chair recognizes President John Fulton.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody who's listening, and Liz and I will reinforce this with the Kingdom Seneschals. The intention of this is to have everyone checked at this event, that when they come in, they have been checked. We need to understand this means staff, this means autocrats. That means if you're working some side loading thing to get you access to site, this covers all of that. We are making it a little easier, but we are going to again emphasize that we want everybody to go through this process. It has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, President Fulton. And just one addition to that, it has to be done in those kingdoms that have adopted this policy.
Correct, you are correct. Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, other discussion on this?
Okay. I need a clarification. I just need to know who seconded that.
I believe that was Director Carter. Okay, seeing no more discussion, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Very good. All right, any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, Liz, are there other variances, COVID-related variances under new business?
No, Mr. Chairman, that is all the variances that I have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, new business 5B, the 2022 preliminary budget. Mizelle, show is yours.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible to switch B and C around and let me do the executive summary first for 2021?
Absolutely, Mizelle.
Okay, I think it just would make more sense before presenting the budget for 2022. All right, let me pull that up. Oops, hold on. Just give me a second. All right, so of course, due to COVID, as everybody is aware, we have had some negative impact on our monthly budget or year-to-date budget. Not as bad as we originally thought it was going to be. I'd like to say thank you to everyone that has purchased subscriptions to the TI and the CA and the Kingdom newsletters, and for people renewing for multiple years on their memberships. It has helped tremendously. The sales of the stock clerk, that was a nice little plus. We were able to save some money on our insurance and also on the event module, but it not being used. So with the original budget of negative $312,000 for 2021, as of August, of the August financials that have been completed, we are only at a negative $99,000. Now, we did have to pull out of our investment funds 2 times $75,000, so for a total of $150,000 to help us cover expenses of the corporate office. But that is a lot better than what we had previously thought. So overall, I mean, we're still probably going to end up in the negative because over the next few months, things tend to slow down as far as membership renewals and such as we get into the holiday season. That's really all I have. I know you all have had a chance to look at the summary. So I guess, are there any questions? Comments?
So yeah, if you could mute yourself.
Yeah, let me hold on. Let me minimize this.
So the question I have is, you know, we have the budget and we have numbers, but for the people that are listening out there, how would you characterize our financial situation? Golden, or making money, or not out of the woods yet, but it's looking pretty good? Or are we all going to have to start selling candy at elementary school in order to make up the difference?
I would say that it's probably, yeah, we're definitely not out of the woods yet. It's going to be hard to say. I mean, events certainly have started back up, but you know, we have had it just, you know, things have cost more. We have relocated the corporate office, and so that's going to save us about 35 to 40K a year. Talk more about that when I do the budget itself. So we have to watch our money. We still have to watch our money. That's one of the reasons why, you know, we've been doing the virtual business meetings and such, and we'll continue to do so until, you know, be more comfortable to have the in-person one.
Okay, Director, or excuse me, President Fulton.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Watson. Mazel, we do have a solid amount of savings, and this will assist us at least over the next couple of years to stay solvent, correct? We do need to, of course, save and be careful and work on membership and growth, but we are not in an immediate danger. We're good for at least a couple of years, correct?
That is correct. We have about $849,000 in our investment fund at this particular point in time. And so, yes, we did a quick speculation, you know, burn down analysis, and we've got at least, you know, if everything stays the status quo like it has been, you know, we don't get an increase in the membership and stuff like that, that we're good for at least 3 years.
Thank you very, very much.
Okay, other questions for Mazel? All right, Mazel, I don't think you have anything for us to vote on, a motion or anything. Did you have anything left on the 2021 executive summary?
No, I don't.
Okay, moving right along then to the 2022 preliminary budget.
Okay, so based off of the 2021 summary, I always, you know, have to go back and look at the budget, you know, how it's been and stuff like that. We're still going to be operating in the negative. It's, you know, it's kind of hard to say, you know, what our income is going to look like based on membership renewals. It's certainly, you know, the members extending for, you know, 2 years or 3 years will certainly have a impact on our cash flow a little bit. But, you know, we always do have that, you know, where people renew their memberships, but we had a bigger amount for during this past year. But I do see that now that events are opening back up, membership does seem to be going, you know, membership renewals are starting to climb back up a little bit, as people know that, you know, they go, you know, they can go to events and stuff, and be able to do things. We'll certainly see our NMR money income come back up. We usually get about $150,000 to $160,000 a year from MMR. I definitely am one of those people that like to budget conservatively. So right now, I've got that set, I get $100,000. So overall, we should see an increase in income, not as much as in past years, but certainly it will definitely help us there. Subscriptions are still very, very strong, if not just a little bit up. The people are still wanting to get the paper copies of the newsletters, so that kind of covers the costs of that. One thing I will say is that postage is going up. I mean, not a lot, but over the long term, it can add up a bit. The exact number I do not have yet. Let's see. We have, one of the things that we do is our society officers, some of our society officers have travel budgets for taking care of business, like the society marshal goes to the big major wars like Gulf Wars and stuff like that. And we have the DEI officer for training and such. So, and that attunes to $18,000 a year. So for right now, I still have that off the budget until such time that that we can allow that sort of thing. Now, of course, if there's an emergency of some sort for a particular officer or for board of directors, it's certainly, we'll meet and discuss it and approve it. But it can save us quite a bit of money. Not having the in-person board meetings will save us up to $80,000 to $90,000, depending upon where it's at, how many officers and board, where they have to travel. There's a lot of logistics involved with it, but it certainly has been saving us much money on that. We have like I said, our rent has been decreased because they went from, it was like a $3,000 square foot office down to like an 1,800 square foot office. Louise, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't remember what the exact footage was. And we will probably see a savings of around 35 to 40K there, which definitely helps. I have not gotten the new renewal rates for the insurance company, from the insurance company yet. It definitely will probably increase, like everything else has increased, but it's hard to say. So I do just have a placeholder in there for that in the budget. The investment funds, let's see, stock clerk, we did very well. I do not know what the final decision is on the stock clerk's office, or when the next sale will be on the items. The TI and the CA almost cover the people that subscribe to this, to the TI and the CA, almost cover the expenses of those publications. We do lose a little bit of money in both cases for 2022. It looks like for the let's see, where is it? TI, we'll see a loss of about $2,700, and then for the complete anachronist about $1,500. Now this also includes in the expenses of the printing and the postage, also the officers' expenses and the stipends that they receive for the publications. Investments continue to go up and down, but it has been very good this year so far. So that has helped out a lot. The event module, we are now collecting 1% of the money taken in goes towards usage fees. to help cover the cost of the software and maintenance on it. And in the month of September, it has definitely covered all those costs and then a little. So we'll probably re-examine, you know, the rates and stuff like that as we go along. But so far, it has been performing very well. The event module, a lot of people have been using it. I will say that Atlantia and Mid-Realm have the lead on who's using it the most, which kingdoms are using it the most. Outlands, let's see, Palantir, and Artemisia, and there's a couple of others. So, for the most part, I think people are liking it. I haven't heard too many negative things about it. So anyway, to sum it all up, and hopefully nobody has gone to sleep yet on me.
Before you sum it up, Mizelle.
Yeah.
How many events have we run through the event module at this point?
We currently have 76 that have run through there, or either, you know, have closed, open. There's a couple that have been canceled, but they still went through. There's still a little bit of money, you know, they had, you know, War of the Rings and Atlantia. But if you hold on, it's been, we've had about, I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was like $238,000 in income for the local groups or the kingdoms hosting those events has gone through there. So about 10,000 orders. I don't know the exact amount of attendees, but we've had about 10,000 orders. So it's doing pretty good. So the bottom line is we're sitting at a negative $144,000 budget right now. A lot better than it was the previous year where we were at 312,000. And of course, right now we're sitting at about, if I was able to look at the current year-to-date income statement, it's nowhere complete and all that, but it was sitting at like a negative 66,000. So, I mean, so, you know, there probably will definitely be a change to that, and we're certainly doing better than what we predicted. That's it.
Thank you, Mizelle. My understanding, if you could mute yourself, please. My understanding is that you are not going to be asking for a vote on the preliminary budget this time, but you're going to wait until we have a few more things solidified before we approve the preliminary budget. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I would like to do. I really would like to have the insurance rates, which we should be getting pretty soon, just so I can see how much effect that's going to be. But it's certainly up to you if you want to, you know, budget is just it's a working budget. It can be changed, it can be modified. So I'm leaving it up to you all.
Well, okay, we can either remand this to a conference call, or we can approve the preliminary budget as presented. Is there any feeling amongst the directors as to how you want to go for this? Let's start off with a motion. Bart, why don't you go ahead?
I move that we remand this to the conference call.
Motion to remand to the conference call, second by Director Carter. By consensus, unless there's objection, we'll go ahead and remand that and pick it up at the conference call. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mizelle. Okay, moving on to reports. Item 6, John Fulton, President of the SCA, your report, sir.
Thank you. Give me just a second to get my tabs correct. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the President's Office report for the fourth quarter 2021. Requested board actions, none. Policy interpretations, This is technically not an interpretation. I do think it does need to be stated because of the variances that have been issued by the Society Seneschal Liz Schreier over the last quarter. We need to reestablish and make it plain, well, establish and make it plain that the crowns and coronets are indeed officers of the society. There seems to be some confusion, but that is made plain in corpora in the glossary, which defines an officer and includes crowns and or coronets. So our insurance for officers covers them, as does the responsibility that goes with being an officer of the Society for Creative Anachronism. Commendations. I would like to again commend the Kingdom's Crowns officers, participants of the board for continuing to make every effort to keep people safe during the epidemic. There's still a great deal of work and probable grief ahead as the world hopefully gets a little safer from this scourge of a disease. I am proud to be associated with those whose concerns for others make life better. The next part may be a stretch a bit, and I do apologize. Renee Signorati and Teresa Anderson retired October 1st. They are steady and true and have been the underpinning of the SCA for decades. And this is a lot of what I'm going to say has been said by many people. Renee and Teresa have seen the organization through bad times and good. They've taught, mentored, tolerated, and held other people's hands in support. True, this was their career and their jobs. Still, Teresa offered her church up for years for meetings for the board and cooked and catered meals for those meetings so that the SCA could save a good deal of money. Renee gave rides to people so that the transportation costs would be low when needed, and shook a mighty finger at all of us when we went over our per diem or exceeded our budgets. A new board member steps up every 6 months. Boards change out completely every 36 months. Excuse me. Society and corporate officers came and went. For decades, Renee and Teresa greeted each new person with a smile and offered the knowledge needed to do a good job. Consistency is important. Renee and Teresa were, and I say damn, and that is difficult to say, consistent in just about every good way that could be imagined. Personally, for me, I was a rube when I volunteered to be on the board a long time ago. Renee and later Teresa pointing me in the direction of the rules and hand me a book on California not-for-profits. Read it, Renee said, and then just kind of grinned at me. One of the best things I've ever been taught in the society. Our new Vice President for Corporate Operations, Louise Ducray, is trained and ready and will be awesome and is awesome. I'm glad the SCA has her to do the job. Still, I will miss Renee and Teresa letting me know when I could do better or offering some common sense is needed. On the other hand, I can still reach out and say hi when good advice is required, and that is good. One more thing, in my total denial, I did not mention Craig Carter, who is stepping down at the end of this meeting. I've had the good fortune to work with the SCA for a long time in a number of capacities, not always corporate, sometimes kingdom, sometimes events. Craig Carter, his grace, is one of the most honest, intelligent individuals I've ever known. His dedication, his integrity is just amazing. He was a great chairman. He was a great board member. And I wish him luck in his new endeavors, which revolve around restoring cars. But I wish to commend him because the SCA would not be in our survivable situation right now without him. My publishable summary: I've been in contact with 5 SCA affiliate boards in New Zealand, Australia, Finland, Sweden, and the Netherlands to adjust the payment date on their fees paid to the SCA yearly. This is set on a per member basis. The date chain simplifies our records, but it also allows our affiliates to a little bit more time to handle their per member payment they have to be our affiliates, which is, for those who do not know, $3 a member. They get to use our rules, become part of our overall organization when it comes to recognizing each other and recognizing corpora and recognizing what the society does. I would like to say thank you to all the affiliates for their quick response. The other affiliates that we have were already aligned with the date required. Amazon Smile and our participants who are in the program were generous to the SCA with a donation of $2661.78 for activity between April and June of this year. If you're considering the name of the SCA and the Amazon Smile program, please feel free to contact me on how that's done. It is a great help. It goes into the general fund. On September 25th, 2021, the board issued a resolution for COVID safe proof of that. Everyone knows that. That's basically it. Everything else is being covered by other officers. I urge everyone to check the website. It is being updated on a fairly regular basis. Everything from our resources to our events to our policies. Go take a look around. If you have any issues with it, reach out to myself or to Rusty, our manager of IT for the SCA, and we will see what we can do to help, or talk to your ombudsman. The office change in Milpitas has been done. That's it for my publishable summary. Travel. I hope to be able to travel to events soon. Chairman Watson, that is my report for this quarter.
Thank you very much, President Fulton. By consensus, the board notes that Kingdom Crown and Kingdom Crowns are indeed officers of the kingdom that they reside in. All right, 6A1, Information Technology Manager, Rusty, where are you?
Good afternoon, esteemed board and members of the society. Here is my report for the third quarter 2021 regarding the activities of the Department of Information Technology for the board's October 24th, 2021 meeting. I have no requested board actions. I have no policy interpretations. I have no new policies, thank goodness. I do have a bunch of commendations. As always, I'd like to thank Renee, Teresa, David Dubray, and Marla Lesson. David is our sysadmin and Marla is our webmaster for their day-to-day work to keep our technology and associated services running. I would also like to commend John Fulton for his invaluable counsel over this last quarter. And I wish Renee and Teresa a very happy retirement. I cannot express how much I will miss them. I've worked with them for a long time and will really miss their counsel. I also would like to commend Craig Carter for his counsel over his tenure on the board. We have shared many conversations, all fruitful, whether frustrating or not, all fruitful, and I will really miss him being on the board as well. In terms of a general status report and publishable summary, technology in the SCA continues to move forward. We continue to assist our officers in the most efficient use of technology in the SCA. We have been reviewing our policies to ensure that they are up to date and also assisting our corporate officers in resolving technology concerns as we continue to move forward to reopening the SCA completely. As always, but particularly in this time, we continue to look for ways to lower costs and improve support, technology, and functionality for our corporate officers and members in a variety of ways, or as I like to put it, how much more can we do with less? But we are keenly aware of what we need to do to save money, and we are continuing to do that. One other thing I wanted to mention, we are beginning to look into the process of migrating off of our ERP system, members only, because we have been using that for a while, and unfortunately, the chief programmer, president, and all-around person is beginning to near retirement. And so we are being proactive about this and looking toward moving to a nonprofit version of Salesforce.com with a company called Funtiva. One of the things is that having access to the Salesforce.com ERP platform really will enable us to move in a lot of different ways that we weren't able to with members only. A lot more functionality. Not that members only was bad, but they really focused in the nonprofit space. Salesforce.com focuses in the for-profit space, so they have a lot more features. This will not be something that will happen right away. This will happen, I would say, over the next year or so. We are very lucky in the fact that Renee Signorati will be helping to achieve this migration, as she is extremely well versed in the members only system as well. So just wanted to give everyone that update, so you know it will be coming in the ensuing quarters. As always, I remain in service to the SCA. I would continue to ask all of our members to continue to be kind and considerate to each other, especially where social media is concerned, as it is very easy to get carried away with just posting stuff into the ether, given our current pandemic status. Please, please, please embrace our principles of chivalry, honor, and courtesy, especially over social media and online. Please give people the benefit of the doubt, and I think it'll go a little better. Other than that, that is my report, and thank you very much all for listening.
Thank you. Actually, one thing I forgot, Liz, do we need a board motion to accept these reports? Or, excuse me, Leslie, do we need a board motion to accept these reports, or we could just move on?
No, as long as there's no action, you can just accept the reports as read. If there's action, then you need a motion or something, or some sort of notation.
Okay. By consensus, Rusty, we accept your report. We're going to move on we're going to skip over the Society Communications Officer report and move straight to number 3, the Social Media Officer. Bridget, this is you. Is Bridget there? Where's Bridget?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I am, Mr. Chair, I do have a slight lag, so my thanks to the board for their patience. So we have this quarter for social media, we have no requested board actions, policy interpretations, or new policies. I commend to the board's notice all those who are assisting in the creation and enabling of hybrid events. We're seeing combining virtual presence with an in-person experience. These events increase the reach of our events, sharing them across the known world, and increase the accessibility of our activities. I'd like to join my voice in recognising the incomparable Renee Signorati and Teresa Anderson for their work, their patience, their immense kindness and consideration during the time I have had the opportunity to work for them. Kelly McGill for her extensive support of the social media office during her time as communications officer. Lady Olivia Trezana, who has been an enormous help in launching and moderating the Atlantean Discord page. From the Kingdom of Anstior, Lady Leardon for Storytime, which has been sharing suitable stories for SCA children. Katerina Giovanni for service-minded classes, and Zabaya for the Historian's Fireside Chats. His Excellency Baron Calbada for his work providing and supporting video content right across the known world. He's working with multiple kings. Elsa Snackenberg, outgoing Kingdom Social Media Officer for Ansiora, for her establishment of the office in the Kingdom and her empathy, compassion, skill and wit. The Crown Province of Ostgarda's social media team for continually publishing and creating really engaging, informative content across all of their platforms. Lady Madeleine Le Mercier, outgoing Kingdom Social Media Officer for the Kingdom of Lockup for her work. Lady Fabio Maxima, who developed a drab to fab Roman attire TikTok for Lockup's inaugural scavenger hunt, which at the time of the report had received more than 190,000 views. The West Kingdom social media team, in particular Lady Bella Donna de Sorcy, for her work on TikTok. For example, one of her recent videos has had more than 250,000 views, been liked more than 30,000 times, is currently sitting at about nearly 350 comments. All of those officers who are building presences on the newly approved TikTok platform for the Society, since it was endorsed. This is significant marketing and outreach opportunities for the SCA, and it's really great to see our content building in that space. And as always, thank you to John, Liz, Marla, Renee, Jessica, Rusty, Ross, and Sarah for the continuing support of the social media office. Performance has remained relatively stable. We are seeing elements of pandemic fatigue from the social media offices in particular and for the known world populace. Strategies to address this are in place, and it is anticipated that in particular with our North American kingdoms returning to face-to-face events where safe and possible, we should see fresh content coming through, which will help. We're seeing a lot of reports coming in from kingdoms using TikTok that they're seeing strong results for recruitment and engagement, and we are working with those officers to build capability for this platform. We anticipate that the Society will start providing content during this quarter. Our lessons learned regarding our earlier policy releases from the year were applied during the quarter, and we have seen improvement in engagement and online reports, online reception to policy releases, despite things being an emotive topic. Thank you to the board for the September approval of the Social Media Handbook. This will greatly assist the office going forward. We continue to work with SCA.org webmaster regarding a Talking SCA page to provide a single point of reference to the social channels. This will help us promote our non-Facebook channels, and that will work. We're going to be working on this more in Q4 to continue to diversify our audience and minimize over-reliance where we can. We continue to support SCA and other society officers with social media support and advice. We do have an increased focus on onboarding new SCA Inc. officers, board members, and society officers in terms of social media use. The new quarter with it changed, so we've got a bit of plans in place to complete some projects to free up spaces. Just a reminder, if you have dormant social media channels, they do have the potential to damage your engagement level. We will continue to work with society officers to make sure they're supported and keeping those pages active. We've now seen more than 31,000 uses of the My SCA hashtag on Instagram. I think it's actually sitting as of today at about 33,000 uses. This is our unifying tag across multiple platforms and channels. And we will continue to work, so communications and social media will work with the Vice President of Corporate Operations to review the LinkedIn presence of the SCA. This has the opportunity to be able to really reach out to our professional communities, and having that kind of presence assists in things like grants and making sure that the organisation is seen as viable within a professional context as well as within the social and marketing context. With the reserve, moving to the publishable summary, and I thank the board for their patience. With a return to face-to-face events across the known world, we're really seeing increased opportunities to share our joy, pageantry, and adrenaline rush that you only get from an in-person event. Kingdoms continue to work to maximise the opportunities supported through the hybrid event model and continue to offer appropriate online events. Thank you to all SCA participants for their work continuing to promote, support and share the SCA. At present, Australian borders remain closed, so there is no plans at this time for travel. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Bridget, for your report. By consensus, the board accepts your report, and we thank you for your service as the Society DEI officer, and wish you great fortune in your next job, which is, can we announce it here, by the way? Has it been announced? Your next job, which is the Society Media Officer. So we welcome you to your new office, Society Media Officer, as you pick up the reins for this one. Thank you for all that you are doing, and try to get some sleep. Are you going to stay on to the end of the meeting, or are you going to take off?
It's 5:15 at the moment in the morning, Mr. Chair, so my workday starts in a couple of hours.
All right. Well, thank you again for working with us at these odd hours for you. Okay, moving along, we have 6A4, the Society DEI officer. Jessica, that is you.
It is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. So I would like to commend Denise Secuto in the West Kingdom for her work in ensuring all are safe and comfortable at events in her kingdom. I'd like to commend all those who are working so hard to maintain the SCA presence online, as well as safely in person for many different communities and levels of comfort and risk. Special thanks to Van Carter, Becca Schaefer-Ross, and Talisha Ruby, congrats, girl, for their assistance and feedback in moving the DEI office forward. As always, many thanks to Bridget, Liz, John, and everyone else working alongside in this trying time. And as always, I am endlessly grateful to my deputies, Drew and Olivia, as without their support, I would be super overwhelmed. Thank you guys so much. As we return or begin to return to events, we're seeing some of the discussions we've had over the course of the last year and a half actualized in terms of inclusivity and accessibility. Please do consider consulting the many resources on the website and Facebook page, as well as DEI officers throughout the kingdoms to learn more about how you can make your events, practices, and demos more inclusive. I am always available to consult, and I would love to hear more about successful strategies that you have seen. The official DEI Facebook page can be found easily through the main SCA Facebook page or in a link in this report. And it has a variety of classes, interviews, and panels available as we begin to transition back to in-person events. I will continue to produce digital content as well as move back to teaching in person. And I am accepting suggestions and recommendations for topics folks would most like to see explored. All the DEI videos have now been uploaded to the SCA YouTube page. Thank you guys so much. For more questions, please feel free to message the Facebook page or email me directly at equity@sca.org. I do continue to teach various classes on topics related to DEI, as do our many Kingdom DEIs, deputies, officers, council members, etc. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you would like to know more about when these might be, or if you are interested in scheduling these for your area, and I will do my best to facilitate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. By consensus, the board accepts your report and thanks you for your service to the society. Next on our list is the Vice President of Operations, Society Seneschal. Liz, show is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have an action item. The president, and John kind of alluded to this earlier, the president and I would like to request that the board make a change to corporate policies 2C2C, which is under eligibility for office. General conditions and privileges of membership, eligibility for office, minors as officers. This point currently reads, minors may not serve as group marshals or as marshals in charge, seneschal, or exchequer. We would like the sentence to be changed to read, minors may not serve as royalty, seneschals, exchequers, group marshals, or marshals in charge. The reason for this is that while most kingdoms have laws that specify that those competing in royal lists must be of legal age in their jurisdiction, and while there is precedent at the corporate level for insisting on that, our rules don't spell that out specifically. It's insinuated, it's not exact. The duties of royalty require them to be in positions of responsibility that deal with finances, because they're on financial committees, and appointing officers that all have to be legal adults, seneschals, exchequers, and marshals. And our sanction rules, our youth policies, interkingdom agreements, these are all things that sitting royalty carry a great deal of authority and responsibility. They carry legal ramifications. Lots of these, royalty are not the legal representatives of the kingdom, but some of their actions carry legal ramifications. So for these reasons, we would like to put that policy, that corporate policy change out for comment. It would need to be put out. Again, we'd like it to be changed to read, minors may not serve as royalty, seneschals, exchequers, group marshals, or marshals in charge. Just adds royalty to the existing policy. So we would request that the board put that up for comment.
I am muted. There we go. Why is Pug touching his ear? Why is he touching his ear like that? So, Pug, do you have a comment on this?
I have a question, actually. Should this not also include territorial nobility, given they are also members of many financial policies or financial groups?
Chair recognizes John.
Yes. we.
Thank you for
No,
your detailed answer, President
well,
Filker.
I just got to give a really, for me, it'll be brief. So a long time ago, there was a princess, right? She was underage. The society decided that you had to be an adult for many reasons. Kingdoms adopted it. I believe at the time, which is before most of us, including me, that the board did put out a statement. But somehow over the decades, the kingdoms took care of it. This needs to be done. And territorial barons and or baronesses or that position does need to be included simply because of the financial responsibilities that and laws inside of kingdoms to do that. So if Liz has no problem, the board has no problem, I would add that to be put out for comment. That is a great suggestion.
It is indeed a good suggestion. I was just kind of paging through corpora to see if I could find where the terminology in corpora is for that. That would take me a minute to come up with, but we could certainly add territorial baronage to that proposed wording.
Thank you.
Okay, so, just operationally, we did approve this by consensus during the president's report, but now that's been changed, we probably should look. Is that right?
What I talked about was merely the part about corpora in the glossary defining them as officers. This is a separate issue. I wasn't looking. I was just wanted to restate that for the world again.
Okay.
That when we think about crowns, that leading to Liz's report in this, which is the important thing.
Thank you very much. So, do we need a motion for this, or can we just accept this by consensus?
Motion, I believe, to put it out for comment.
Okay, I think it's a great idea. Okay, Chair recognizes Director Regner.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to put the Society Seneschal's commentary out, or put the Society Seneschal's proposed policy change out for commentary.
Okay, motion by Director Regner to put the Seneschal's policy change out for commentary, seconded by Director Colson. All in favor of this? We'll go ahead and vote.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Liz, before you continue on, I think Director Regner would like the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move for a 5-minute recess, please.
By consensus, we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll meet back here at 1/2 the hour. Thank you, everyone.
Did you go to coronation, Bonnie?
No, sir, I did not. Couldn't guarantee that I would be back in time for this meeting, so I stayed home.
Yeah, us too.
I would have loved to have been there, but just that Shreveport drive, it's about a 6 or 7 hour drive, and that stretch of interstate coming from 20 back to 10, sometimes wrecks will be miles or hours trying to get back through there. So
my understanding is our king died from a stampede, which is awesome. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's new.
That is new.
So don't forget, folks, that we are being recorded, and this is live, and you are being broadcast.
John, you might want to explain that one then.
For those who may not know, Glen Aubin, like Meridies and sometimes Trimaris, has an old tradition of croaking our outgoing crowns, sending them to exile, things like that. Our current crown has stepped down yesterday. The sovereign was ran over in a stampede, and I believe the consort was given her cloak back to go back possibly to the elves. I never know. I wasn't there. It's hard to know. So, yeah, creative anachronism. Thank you.
Go Rams.
The thought is, if you pay your money, you get your show.
Hey, pay a lot of money to go to coronation. Ought to make it entertaining.
Okay, so it looks like we're all getting back together here. I don't see Patrick. You're still paused. Jessica, you're paused. But that's all right. You can remain paused. I see that you're here. Patrick is here. Okay. Do we have all of the directors here? Got Natalie is here. Craig, Dan, Dale's here. Pug is here. Who am I missing? Bart, Gigi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I miss what two did I not mention?
It's because Jennifer isn't here today.
Jennifer, that's right. Jennifer not here, and I think is that it? Who else? I go here. Okay. All right. I believe we are back in session. We left off with Society Seneschal's report. Liz, why don't you carry on?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Policy interpretations. I have one. Corpora 782, Kingdom Officers General. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a long paragraph, but in relevant part, what it talks about is Kingdom great officers and deputies and so forth. And it says, in part, the Crown may create additional great offices. Kingdom lesser officers and deputies are created by the Crown according to the needs of the Kingdom. These officers may be supervised directly by the Crown or be placed under the jurisdiction of a greater officer and report accordingly. However, great officers retain ultimate responsibility for delegated functions. I was asked whether that sentence, Kingdom lesser officers and deputies are created by the Crown according to the needs of the Kingdom, gave the Crown power to appoint deputies to Kingdom officers over the objection of the Kingdom officer. That could leave the Kingdom officer holding the bag if the Crown appointed deputy that they did not want was derelict in their duties. And my interpretation is that the Crown may not do this. They may not unilaterally appoint deputies to Kingdom officers or lesser officers that serve under a Kingdom officer. They may appoint lesser officers that are, quote, supervised directly by the Crown. This is partly based on, if you go down a little further in Corpora in section 7I, appointment to office, Corpora states that Kingdom greater officers are appointed by the Crown to be ratified by the corresponding society officer. And it says that lesser officers are appointed, quote, in a parallel manner where the great officer takes the place of the society officer. And further, when they talk about warrants, it says that the warrants have to be signed by the royalty and the responsible great officer. Nobody can be compelled to sign a warrant. So to me, it seems clear that the royalty may not appoint a deputy or a lesser officer who's going to be under the supervision of a superior officer other than themselves, the royalty, without that superior officer's consent. And so I ask that the board uphold that interpretation of corpora.
Okay, so Director. Sorry, we recognize Director Colson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we uphold the Society Seneschal's interpretation of Corpora 7A2, and I do appreciate her research and her interpretation.
Motion by Director Colson, second by Director Regner. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Liz, continue on.
Okay, I have no new policies other than the COVID things that have already been discussed. We also covered the one group status change I had earlier. Commendations. I would like to commend Master Caradwin Yorward, who just stepped down after an exceptional tenure as Seneschal of the Middle Kingdom. Master Caradwin kept her kingdom on an even keel throughout the pandemic and before, and dealt with a number of vexing circumstances with aplomb and grace. I wish her a joyous return to civilian life. I would also like to commend Tom Conti, Sir Theron Andronikos, who likewise stepped down in September as the Kingdom's Seneschal of Trimeris. The pandemic and other things conspired to make what might have normally been a routine tenure much more interesting than I am sure he or any of us anticipated, and his work is appreciated. And I would like to mention my deputies. Deanna Lewis, Countess Ilva Jan's daughter, is my administrative assistant, and she has quietly and efficiently helped bring order to files and folders where chaos previously existed. Lee Clark, Duchess Elisa Byrne, is helping to streamline and improve our investigation procedures. And my emergency deputy, Shep Shepard, Graf Ulrich von Brandenburg, has turned into the person who's quietly supportive, but he will tell me if I'm off base somewhere, and to whom I can send a Facebook message that just says ARG, and he'll usually know what I'm talking about and commiserate. I deeply appreciate all three of them. I also have lots of Kingdom Seneschal commendations. From Onstiora, he says, I would like to commend Jason Drysdale, Jason Douglas, and Margarita de Mantua, Valley Copley, King and Queen of Onstiora, until recently, for their efforts over their 16-month reign. As they stepped down in September, I cannot express my gratitude for their tireless efforts through a most difficult time. They put popularity on the line to make what they believed were the right decisions. On behalf of myself and my predecessor, Master Avery Shaw, it has been an honor working with them to serve our kingdom. From Atlantia, Kingdom's Seneschal writes, this has been a busy period as we invested new crowns after 14 months. I commend their previous majesties, Duke Anton and Duchess Lunid, Doug and Diane Stevens, for their extraordinary service to Atlantia and the SCA. They provided wise, stable, and innovative leadership through the long months. From Eldermere, Kingdom's Seneschal, I'd like to make note of the following people. Her Majesty Isabel Atwill, Master Lars Eriksson, Duchess Josia Volante, and Baroness Kersteken, who've all been my helpful sounding boards and some of my go-to people in getting all the plans and such written, especially Her Majesty Isabel. And from the East Kingdom, the Seneschal writes, commendations to the Shire of Quintavia and the Barony of Carolingia, and to the Barony beyond the mountain for their successful feeder tournaments to select the final entrants for Consuls Tyndall and Albrecht's Crown Tournament. Commendations to the Shire of Hartshorn Dale for their successful Crown Tournament. These tournaments were planned and run under difficult, often shifting conditions, and the staff of all three events did outstanding work to ensure all went as smoothly as possible. And from the Kingdom Seneschal of Lochak, I would like to make special mention of the following officers this quarter. Mistress Elspeth Carewent, she stepped into a delicate situation to mediate, and after one session, developed a positive outcome. Duchess England Tufel. She agreed to take on the role of acting Kingdom Seneschal with no hesitation. She has excelled in this role and continued as I have had health challenges. She is definitely an asset to the society and our kingdom. Mistress Anne, Lady Adrienne, and Duchess England for the Locock scavenger hunt. So many ideas, and the passion to create this venture for the kingdom has been amazing. And finally, from the Kingdom Seneschal of North Shield, she writes, I would like to commend my law clerk, Duchess Petronella Fitz-Allen of Weston, for going above and beyond over the last year. Additionally, our transitions and new groups officer, Maestra, Sofonisba Vespasiana Gabrielli, who has overseen very smooth baronial polling for almost all of the baronies in the kingdom. My publishable summary is, during the third quarter, most of the SCA reopened to in-person events. The board has implemented several changes to its pandemic policies in response to the rapidly changing COVID situation. At first, it looked as though the known world would soon be able to return almost completely to normal. Sadly, that has not been the case. However, with flexibility and a modicum of goodwill, we can manage to enjoy our hobby more fully than was possible prior to this quarter. The biggest late-breaking news has, of course, been the board's new policy regarding requirements for vaccinations or negative COVID tests, which kingdoms in North America may choose to adopt if they wish. The intent of all the COVID-related policies is to try and keep our participants as safe as possible while maintaining some flexibility for local areas. As is always the case, any local, state, provincial, or federal law or regulation takes precedence over SCA rules. Anyone who has questions about implementation should contact their Kingdom Seneschal, the Society Seneschal, or the President. Anyone with questions or comments about the policies themselves should contact their Board Ombudsman or write to the SCA comments list. At the corporate level, the end of the third quarter marks the end of an era. Renee Signorati and Teresa Anderson are leaving after decades of incredible service to the organization to be replaced by Louise Ducret and Natalia Arosevic. I wish Renee and Teresa much enjoyment of their newfound leisure and want to welcome Louise and Natalia aboard and wish them every success in their new endeavors. I also have a deputy report from the Society Chatelaine, Ann Stevenson. Most kingdoms are reporting some in-person activities, including events, demos, and meetings or practices. Chatelaines are incorporating newcomer activities at these and are trying to get engagement from new members who joined either right before the lockdown or during. There is also a lot of discussion about existing membership attrition and the concern that many of the Chatelaine offices are left empty or that members are just not seeking to return as some expected. I have urged my Chatelaines to be patient and continue working on recruiting. I've lost the last page of that. I also would like to mention that the Society Chatelaine is seeking her eventual replacement, and applications are open, I believe, until the end of November. There's an announcement up to that effect. And I believe that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Liz. By consensus, the board accepts the report of the Vice President of Corporate Operations. Going down the list next, we have 6C1 tournaments illuminated. Who's gonna take that one?
Oh, hi, Mr. Chairman. I think it's actually me as the VP of Corporate Ops first, followed by Publications. Is that not correct?
The floor is yours, Louise.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I present my first report to the board. There is one board action that I need approved. It's just to please approve the addition of myself, Ms. Elatia as accounting specialist, and Natalia Yarosevich as administrative assistant as new contacts for the SCA investment account.
Let's go ahead and do that right now. So we can use a motion to approve this. Louise, can you restate it, please?
Do I make the motion?
No, you don't, but I'd just like you to state it again.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so this is it's just something that we need in order for all of us to have access and make changes with our investment account. Please approve the addition of myself, Ms. Elatia as accounting specialist, and Natalia Yarosevich as administrative assistant as new contacts for the SCA investment account.
Okay. Chair recognizes Director Fong-Frederick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve Louise Ducret, Mazel Atia, and Natalia Yarosevic as accounting specialists and administrative assistants for the SCA and as new contacts for the SCA investment account.
Okay, motion by Dale Fong Frederick, second by Director Colson. Louise, was that stated correctly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Any discussion on this? Very good. I'll move to a vote. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Very good. Louise, continue.
Great, thanks very much. I have no policy interpretations or new policies, so I'll move right ahead to the commendations. Obviously, I would like to offer my sincere thanks and admiration to Renee Signorati and Teresa Anderson for all of their training, support, and guidance during these past few months. Obviously, there's nothing I can say that you all don't already know, but there is things you don't know because there have been so much that these ladies have done behind the scenes that that are completely, I mean, they've been keeping this place running for so long. And they've obviously put a lot of passion, a lot of time, and a lot of themselves into these roles. I understand it's a big shoes to fill. It's a big honor, and I just want to wish them well on their retirements. Yeah, so that's that. Obviously, I'm very happy to be here. And I hope they're sipping Mai Tais somewhere. And then on behalf of Publications Manager Gloria Woodard, she would like to express her deep gratitude to all the amazing people who serve the SCA through the Publications team, all of the chroniclers, editors, contributors, photographers, and others. And she extends a special thanks to Renee, who has been a pillar of support and guidance to her for many years. She's deeply appreciative for her many kindnesses and friendship. She sends her very best wishes to Renee on her retirement, and a warm welcome to me. And another heartfelt thank you to Stephanie, Mr. Shariana Stefana Falconi, for her tireless work as the Society Chronicler. She has been a great leader for the years of service she has provided, as well as a critical part of the Publications team. We will all miss her and are thankful for her guidance and support to the chroniclers of the known world. And a summary of the status. As John mentioned, we have completed the move of the corporate office. We have downsized considerably. We like to think there was next to no interruption in services and support for members, but we thank you for your patience during the transition nonetheless. As Ms. L mentioned, we have downsized from 3,200 square feet to 1,800 square feet. And the new space represents an annual savings of a little over $45,000 in rent costs annually. In addition to the, the utilities and things like that we haven't yet known, but those will go down as well. We had a very successful sale in July, which accounted for 48% of our marketplace gross of the year to date. So thanks all for helping us lighten the load, so we didn't have to move as many publications. Let's see. We are in the final stages of completing our annual audit. That information has been provided to the board. Our membership assistance fund, we've distributed a little over 1,700 in assistance this calendar year. We have a balance of about 4,000 currently remaining in the fund. If anybody needs help with your membership this year, this is something you can just reach out to the corporate office and just ask. It's no questions asked. You don't have to prove anything. It's just good faith. And all of our generous donors have put in for this so that we can help you stay on and help you keep participating. Again, let's see. As mentioned, the Society Chronicler is going to be stepping down in December, and applications are currently being accepted. The Society Archivist continues to receive files for the archives and will be choosing from the applicants for Deputy for Digital Files in the near future. And on behalf of Gloria, again, we have a huge number of chroniclers serving the SCA. Let's strike that. On different levels and providing a host of publications to keep us informed and entertained. The time during the pandemic has been particularly challenging, and she is proud of the dedication of the Publications team to provide the best information and resources during such difficult times. I believe that is it for my reports. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Louise. By consensus, the board accepts the report of the Vice President of Corporate Operations, and I'd like to add my personal thanks on behalf of the board for stepping up into this position, and congratulations on becoming the new Vice President of Corporate Operations for the Society for Creative Anachronisms. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the list is, I'm sorry, and I apologize for skipping over this earlier, skipping over yours. But next on the list is 6C1 Tournaments Illuminated. Darcy, is that you?
Yep, I am here. I'd like to apologize. I am a techno peasant, and I spent the first 10 minutes of the meeting trying to convince the computer that I was actually present. So I am, in fact, Darcy O'Neill, known in the Society as Riordan McGregor. It is my pleasure to be the editor of Tournaments Illuminated. I'm from the Kingdom of Kaid. So there's your introduction that you didn't get to begin with. This is my quarterly report. I have no requests for board actions, no policy interpretations, and no new policies. I beg the boards and their guests' indulgence while I power through a list of commendations. I'd really like to give these people the credit they deserve, but there are quite a few of them. Because at TI, many hands make light work, and in this issue, that's very true. In the production of issue 216, I am especially indebted to Quest guest editor Debbie Coyle, and also to Julie Chavez, Sybil Hall, Dale Holcomb, and Kirsten O'Brien, all of the Kingdom of Kaid. My gratitude also to contributors Kathleen Burrell of the Kingdom of Palantir, Linda Dorkson, and Peglet Evans of the Kingdom of the East, Amy Gleer and Anne McKinney of the Middle Kingdoms, Shirley Hackworth of the Kingdom of Anstiora. Let me make sure I'm getting this correct. Roxanne Hatfield of the Principality of Sinagua, Jean Fayberg of the Kingdom of North Shield, Deborah Terry of the Kingdom of Outlands, plus Kenneth Mearns and Tracy Peterson. My warmest thanks and particular admiration to Melinda Sherbring of the Kingdom of Kaid for her two incomparable contributions to the issue on the subject of Elizabethan needlework. These are really eye-popping, guys. My last appreciation to TI stalwart extraordinaire Susanna Meyer of the Kingdom of Drakhenwald for yet another wonderful entry in Medieval Destinations. General status report in the continuing quest to catch up to TI's usual production schedule. Issue 216 will be on its way to press. Issues 217, 18, and 19 are in production. Issue 220 is in planning stages. The quest topic for issue 217 is favorite moments from the SCA online, or virtual SCA moments, if you like. The quest topic for issue 218 is hints for potters and ceramicists. Submissions to either on either topic should be sent to the editor at tieditor@sca.org. I have no travel. The publishable summary is that 216 is going to be press to be followed shortly by 217. 217, 18, and 19 are in production, and issue 220 is on the drawing board. That is the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Darcy. Again, by consensus, the board accepts the report of the Tournaments Illuminated editor. Thank you again for all the work that you're doing. 6C2, Complete Anachronist, Ellen.
Okay. First off, no board actions requested, no policy interpretations, no new policies. I want to thank Anne Roseberry for her work on CA 192, which has been sent out. The History and Construction of Netted Hairnets in Medieval Europe. It was published at the start of the third quarter. We were running a little late from the summer. Thanks also to Elise Fleming for her expert copy editing help, and major kudos go to Sue Gilbert for her layout expertise. CA 192 had many more images than usual, and that made Sue's job challenging, but the final result, I think, and I hope you agree, is beautiful. I also owe a lot of thanks to Julian Mock and Jennifer McGallan for their assistance with the old French translations that are in CA 192. Without their hard work, those translations really wouldn't make much sense. And I didn't put it in the report, but I think it goes without me saying, but I'll say it anyway. that I really want to thank Renee so much for the support. And like many of you, I've known her over the years, long before I took on this office. And again, thanks, so just thanks to Renee and for all the support she gave me when I took over this office. For general status, so CA 192 was sent to the publisher in early August. It has since out. I got mine here in England, so it must be out in the US. At this point, things are sort of in a little bit of a lull. I have women's pre-8th century clothing in Kent, England. I received it a few months ago. We've had one peer review in. I've been trying to get the others in. I have sent the results of the one peer review to the author who is working through those. Now, I recently received another 2 manuscripts. One I received since the report. Elizabethan Theatre Performance Studies was received recently. And since my real life expertise covers its contents, I've reviewed it myself and given comments to the author. There are 2 other, actually, there are 3 other reviewers who promised speedy reviews. It happens, and they're not as speedy. One has been promised to me this week. Okay, so hopefully, again, we can get that moving along. And either that will be CA 193 or, again, just last week, I received period music notation and citation. Now, that's actually already been peer reviewed. The writer went to various laurels in area of music and has had it peer reviewed. And actually, I've gone through it and I sent a copy to Elise, copy editor extraordinaire. Independently, we both came to the conclusion that it needs a glossary. And so actually, but basically, it's pretty much ready for editing. I've sent the information of the glossary to the author. He's more than willing to do it, but it won't be published right away because unfortunately he's had surgery this past week, and he's hoping by later this week he'll be able to get to it. He is going to be at home for a while, and so he's hoping he'll be able to get to it. So it's going to be basically whichever one is ready to go first will be CA 193, and I'm hoping beyond hope to get them to the publisher in November. So it's either going to be period music notation and citation or Elizabethan theatre performance study. So it's either going to be on music or theatre. So basically the publishable summary and for advertising in the SCA is hairnets. CA 192, the history and construction of knitted hairnets. Hairnets originated due to practical needs and, as with much fashion, transitioned throughout Europe into a more decorative role as time progressed. This complete anachronist focuses on the history and use of netted hairnets in Western Europe, including Scandinavia, from 1000 to 1600 CE. Using both artwork and extant hairnets from those centuries, the nets are examined in terms of materials, mesh sizes, overall net sizes, and along with decorations, colors, and etchings used. Close-up images collected in one place allow readers to see details in numerous nets. The writer is working on a future CA on how to make them, but she's not ready yet. And like I said, whichever of the 2 I mentioned is at 193, the next one will be 194. So with any hope, we'll be caught up very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you very much, Ellen. The board thanks you for your steadfast work in this area, and we wish you continued success in putting out these publications, which are just fascinating. Thank you very, very much for the work that you and your colleagues are doing. And by consensus, the board accepts the report of the Society, giving the editor of the Complete Anachronist. 6C3, the Society Chronicler. Louise, are you taking that one?
Yeah, I'll be presenting this on behalf of Stephanie. There was one board action. I apologize. We're having a big storm here and my power went out. So it is to please accept and approve the new chronicler policies. This may have been done during old business.
Did we do that in old business? We did. We did do that in old business. Okay,
thank you very much. There are no policy interpretations. The new policies is, of course, the new chronicler policies. Commendations. Stephanie would like to extend her gratitude to Countess Honor for the help with the chronicler policies. Status report. The Kingdom Chroniclers are working very hard to fill the newsletters with interesting content. We had a few months of event flyers giving much needed optimism and space fillers. Black Fox nominations are in, and the TI team is working with Stephanie to make corrections before publishing. She intends to step down December 31st of this year, is still taking applications for that, as previously mentioned. Publishable summary. I'll just say it as her because I can't change the tense on the fly. I never seem to say enough how very impressed and honored it has been to work with such talented and hardworking people. From the smallest shire to the biggest kingdom, the SCA, the populace, and everyone, chroniclers are fantastic. I ask that if you're able to submit works to be published in your local and kingdom newsletters and show your version of the SCA for all to experience, please do. No travel and no addendums. That completes the Society Chronicler report on behalf of Stephanie Sitzes, Mistress Ariana Stefana Falconi.
Thank you very much. By consensus, we will accept the report of the Society Chronicler, and please convey our thanks to Steph for the work that she has done in this office. And congratulations on completing a successful tenure as the Society Chronicler for her. 6D, Society Treasurer. Mizelle, do you have a report for us?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Where is it? Here is my third quarter report to the Board of Directors in 2021. Requested board actions, discussion and approval of the 2022 SCA corporate office budget, which has been, remanded to a conference call. I have no policy interpretations. I have no new policies. Commendations. I would like to commend all the SCA reservation system deputies that are administrators for the online reservation system for working with their populace and training them on how to use the system. As a whole, majority of people have found it easy to use. General status report. The SCA corporate office is still operating under a negative balance for 2021 due to the decrease in membership revenue and non-member registration fees. Subscriptions for the TI and the CA are still strong even though membership revenue is low. Now that in-person events have started back up, membership is starting to pick back up again. Even though the SCA is now allowing in-person events, we still need to have a tight budget until we are in the black again. The first draft of the 2022 corporate office budget has been presented to the Board of Directors for discussion and possible approval. There are still a couple of areas that I'm waiting for the 2020 renewal rates. All the insurance policies and medical insurance for the employees. Publishable summary, the SCA corporate office is still operating under a negative balance for 2021 due to the decrease in membership revenue and non-member registration fees. Subscriptions for the TI and the CA are still strong, even though membership revenue is low. Now that in-person events have started back up, membership is starting to increase again. Even though the SCA is now allowing in-person events, we still have to have a tight budget until we are in the black again. The first draft of the 2022 corporate office budget has been presented to the board for discussion. There are still a couple of areas that I'm waiting for the 2020 renewal rates for the insurance policies and medical insurance for the employees. Travel, none, and that ends my report to the Board of Directors.
Thank you very much, Ms. L. If you could mute yourself, please. Thank you. Again, by consensus, the board accepts the report of the Society Treasurer. D1, the Society Exchequer, Bonnie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few requested board items. The first is to approve the Kingdom of the Outlands PayPal addendum to their financial policy.
The board has had an opportunity to review this. Is there any discussion? Would anyone like to advance a motion to approve the Antier Financial Policy 2021 revision? Chair recognizes Director Coulson.
I move that we approve the Kingdom of Ontario financial policy revision as presented by the Exchequer.
Point of order.
Motion by Director Colson. We have a point of order. Chair recognizes Director Fong-Frederick.
I believe the item on the agenda right now is the policy of the Outlands, not the policy of Antir.
That is correct. That's my oversight. Please forgive me. Gigi, I'd like you to withdraw your motion so that we can advance the motion on the Outlands PayPal policy.
I withdraw my motion.
And now we need a motion for the Outlands PayPal policy. Chair recognizes Director Colson.
Okay, let me try again. I move that we approve the Kingdom of the Outlands financial policy as presented by the Exchequer.
Motion by Director Colson, seconded by Director Fong-Frederick. And Gigi, it wasn't your fault. I'm the one that stated it incorrectly. You were just following my lead. So any discussion on the Outlands PayPal policy? Questions for Bonnie? Seeing none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Bonnie?
Thank you. I would also like to approve for the directors to approve the Kingdom of Ontario's financial policy.
Chair recognizes Director Fong-Frederick.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Ontario financial policy as presented by the Society Exchequer.
Motion by Director Fong-Frederick, seconded by Director Regner. Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, Bonnie?
Okay, I have no policy interpretations, no new policies. I do have some commendations. I'd like to thank Maria Sladler for her service as the Kingdom of NCR's Exchequer. She's stepping down in the next few days, and they'll be getting a new Exchequer, Emily Gurney. So I want to welcome her to the Exchequer team. And this one's kind of dear to my heart, and I'd like to thank James Baker for his service. James has served Glen Avon either as a local Exchequer or as a Kingdom deputy for a decade or even longer. He has been my NMR deputy. He was a forms deputy. He was a Kingdom Exchequer deputy. He served 3 years now as Kingdom Exchequer, and now that he's stepping down, he's still going to remain on the team, as a report specialist, helping Eric Hayes, our new Exchequer, to make sure all our forms stay up to date. So, James, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a true pleasure. I'd also like to thank all of the local Exchequers that are still out there working hard, trudging through all the insanity and reports as they were due, whether we were playing or not. So, everyone out there, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I have some variances. A variance was granted to the Society Heralds so they could use PayPal to test submissions virtually. So we let them piggyback onto your PayPal policy to see when you submit your devices and your heraldry, you could pay for it at the same time. And we just would like you to uphold that variance, please.
So could use a motion to uphold the variance of that's presented by the Society Exchequer. Motion by Bart Regner. Bart, you want to go ahead and state that to the best of your ability?
Mr. Chairman, I would like us to accept the variance as proposed by our Society Exchequer.
Well done, sir. Second by Director Fong Frederick. Bart, could you mute, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
3 for Director Colson. Very good. Thank you. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The variance is upheld.
Thank you. I have another variance. It was granted to the Barony of Axmore and the Kingdom of Glenavon so that the kingdom was able to do the PayPal refunds for the Artsy Crown List event that was postponed to due to Hurricane Ida. The kingdom actually stepped in and wrote the refund checks for the group. The Axmore did reimburse the kingdom. It was just they had no infrastructure in that area at that time, and we didn't want to hold anybody's funds to be returned to them. So I would like for you please to uphold that variance.
Chair recognizes Director Fong Frederick.
I'm on point this time. Mr. Chair, I move to uphold the variance granted by the Society Exchequer to the Kingdom of Glenavon, Barony of Axmore, as presented.
Motion by Director Fong Frederick, second by Director Colson. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The variance is upheld.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My general status report, all kingdoms are making improvements to standardize entries in QuickBooks. This is going to help us, the better we all get using QuickBooks, it's going to help us all look the same to the auditors. And so that's going real well. The publishable summary, all kingdoms are using the SCA registration system for attendees to register for events. All the feedback I have gotten is that everyone really likes this system. The kingdoms are beginning to use PayPal for heraldic submissions, and that's working very well too. I have no travel at this time, and this does conclude my report.
By consensus, the board accepts the report of the Society Exchequer and thanks the Exchequer Bonnie Stringer for your dedicated service in this area. Next, 6E, Laurel Queen of Arms. Jennifer Smith, you are with us. Floor is yours.
Okay. In my attempt to have the most boring and longest report, I'm going to win that award one of these days.
How many pages is that report,
It's only 22. This is cut down.
22. And the publishable summary is how many pages?
It's only about 2 paragraphs.
Oh, drop in the bucket.
I have quite a lot of board actions, but Craig told me I could try to roll them together. So here's my big summary of the summary. We did a lot of changes to SENA, which is our standards for evaluation of names in Armory, to better allow for non-European names in Armory to match the recent change to the governing documents scope of the society. So this affected, as you would imagine, this affected a lot of different parts of our rules, our general principles, Armory, name rules, designators, things like that. So that's a big chunk of the changes I have here. We had a couple of other minor changes for how we allow augmentations of honor to have beat port contrast, which better matches period Armory practices. We removed protection of the old Libya flag vert, just the solid green flag. We no longer protect that as a simple thing. And we did some tweaks to name presumption, and that's all changes to SENA, the standards for that. And then we had a similar change to our administrative handbook because it also references the single tincture flag of Libya, which we no longer protect. And we also included a reference. We have some standard form letters that we have in an appendix to the admin handbook. And one of those form letters that was requested was, not frequently, fortunately, but occasionally, we have need to transfer heraldic items for a person that is deceased to other people. And so we needed a way to verify that the person requesting the transfer is the legal real world heir or what have you. They have the right to do this. And so we added a standard form letter for people that are not lawyers to be able to copy, but we had added reference to that in the admin handbook. So as those are all items that they all have to be approved separately because those are all individual rule changes.
I don't know if we have to approve all those rules separately.
Well, I mean, I think we can roll them together. Craig suggested we could roll them up.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
To move the business of the office of the Laurel Queen of Arms. Chair recognizes Director Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did have the opportunity, as we all have, to review the really informative and riveting report provided by Jennifer Smith. I know a lot more about Libyan heraldry and sea wyverns now, which I'm happy to know. And I would like to move that we approve the changes to SENA and the administrative handbook as provided by the Society Herald.
So motion by Director Carter, second by Director Colson. Are there any discussions on the changes to the SENA and the administrative handbooks for the Office of Laurel Queen of Arms? Seeing no discussion, call for a vote. All those in favor? 3, 4. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And Jennifer, you can look forward to my device change submission. I'm going to be submitting a VERT before anybody else does.
You cannot?
Well, there goes my one chance.
Good try.
All right, continue on.
So we did some changes to our appendices. We do these as policy interpretations. Our various appendices are generally examples of the rules being laid out or so on. So for example, we added Appendix C in SENA is regional naming groups and their mixes, which explains what language groups you can mix in a name. And we added, we changed the name of the Russian East Slavic group to East Slavic, and we added Ruthenian, which is a new language to me. We added that in that group. We added, let's see, I'm scrolling down my report. We added some more period armory documentation that people had come up with. We added some of that stuff in conflict checking reports. And then we massively overhauled our glossary of terms, which is kind of a misnamed document because it does have the glossary of terms, but it also has some other tables. That is where we have our tables for what is reserve regalia, what are reserve charges, and generally all of our definitions of things. And most of the changes we did here are not actual changes. They were expansions. We cited dates. When was this first mentioned and what is the reference for it? So that if people look at it and want to know what the heck, when did this happen? This happened back in whatever, and has a reference to that. We also updated, we have a table in there for what is proper. So if you say you have a ladder proper, what does that mean? Well, it's probably made out of wood, and so it is therefore brown. So we greatly updated that. I believe that's all of my policies stuff that we did. I don't think I have to get that approved. Okay, I'm going to move on to Commendations, which was much shorter, I promise. We had a second virtual Herald's Point that we held in August. This was kind of over the Penzic timeframe, and this was to make up for the fact that since we didn't have a real Penzic, we didn't have that big Herald's Point where people can come and submit their stuff. So we did this again online. This did include one weekend that was a walk-in Zoom weekend, so you could just show up, and we had heralds ready and waiting to help with names and armory and so forth. We had 134 different submitters from 18 kingdoms with a total of 259 submissions. Onstiora took the most submissions again. I want to commend my key staff who ran this for me. I just sort of like say, make it happen, guys, and they just run with it. Lilia DeVoe, Marie DeBoy, Juliana DeLuna, Thorkel Balzen, or their exchequer, worked with Ontier, which thank you very much for letting us use that. Owen Teg and Krova Novgorodskaya. And then we had a lot of other people who are our the deputies, head deputies, Chandra de Granada, Jocelyn de Squirrel, Ishvan, Alice McIntosh, Allison of Elfane, Jean-Marie, Iago Ab Adam, Ursula George, Serafina Delfino, Herveus de Ormond, Elsbeth Ann Roth, Beatrice Dominici della Campagna, Shauna Carrick's Point, Constantia Caloathena, Oliver de Floch, Ulrich McConnell, Arwen of Leicester, Lee Schwa, and we had more than 70 people total that worked on this event. And I can't possibly name all of them, but I wanted to thank everybody, all the heralds and artists and people who just wanted to help out administratively, managing all the paperwork and so on. It was great. It was fantastic. I also want to commend the one person, Jean-Marie Lacroix, is the person who is responsible for making my reports 22 pages long. She is our palimpsest herald, which is rules. But what that means is anytime one of somebody says we need to change this rule or we need to do whatever, she manages the actual wording and getting commentary on the wording and editing the wording and making sure that our admin handbook, which is our administrative stuff, or CINA, which is the names and armory stuff, is all up to date and accurate with current precedent and so on. And so she's the one who's been catching us up over the last 3 or 4 years of changes that we had gotten a little bit behind in a couple of places. And there's like a sea change going on right now with a bunch of things. And so she is on top of it. And I'm thoroughly indebted to her for the amount of work that she's putting through all this stuff. It's very finicky and tedious, and she's doing a fantastic job. And then I also wanted to thank Craig Carter for being our ombudsman for the time that he has been the ombudsman for heralds. I've known him for many, many, many years, and I will see him after this, I'm sure, but he has been quite helpful to this office. My general status report, we've been tweaking, we always tweak our rules. We've been tweaking the admin handbook. It came to my attention that there's a huge section of it that needs to be just given a major overhaul because it is talking about paperwork processing, and it's actually referring to physical paper, which we haven't touched in 5 or 6 years. And so that whole section needs to be completely overhauled. And I may, instead of doing an incremental change like this, I may just take it back, rewrite the whole thing, and then submit the whole package to you in one chunk. I'll let you know in the next quarter what happens with that. We have an education deputy office that is open for applications. They're more of a coordinator job. They don't write articles, but they go find people to write articles for us and oversee the general organization of our website. That office is open for applications until we find a suitable applicant. On our publishable summary, we started our planning for next year's virtual mid-year known heraldic and scribal symposium. We did this in January this last year as a virtual only Zoom a symposium that ran. We wanted to hit all the time zones so we could hit Drachenwald and Lokak equally, and it went over quite well. And we decided we're going to do this every single year because there are plenty of heralds that cannot make the in-person annual symposium and heraldic classes lend themselves quite well to virtual. So we're going to be doing that every January, and we started our planning for that. Like I said, we just finished the most recent virtual Heralds Point, and the submissions are in the hands of all the Kingdom submission heralds now. And so, and the submissions from the first one that we held back in earlier this year have started to be registered, rolling out now. So, and I think that's pretty much it. Our heraldic activity is picking up. We took a little bit of a lull during COVID, but not a huge amount, because heralds like to talk, and we're going to keep on talking. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Although we make jokes about it, the work of the Herald's Office is very important to the Society and to its members. And we thank you and your crew for taking it as seriously as it truly deserves, and that you're keeping us all on the right heraldic foot, or is it no, it's not this, la droite, right? Yeah. All right, we see next on our list, 6F, the Marshal's report. We'll hear from the Society Earl Marshal, Ray Dubose.
Hello, everybody. Let's see. Sorry, I gotta scroll back up to the top. Requested board actions. We had the Marshal's handbooks that were tabled last time, so those were approved at the beginning of this meeting. Policy interpretations, there are none at this time. New policies, no new policies. Commendations, this is where I'm going to completely screw up everybody's name, so excuse me. The Society Marshal would like to commend all the marshals in the Society that have given their time and knowledge and will keep activities going during these times. The Deputy Society Marshal for Armored Combat with Rebated Steel wishes to commend Sir Aria Kara for the work to complete the implementation plan for Kaid, and Baron Gavin McFergus for the work to complete the implementation plan for Trimaris. The Deputy Society Marshal for Combat Archery would like to commend Sir Cassius and Onstiora for starting up ICAC shoots to encourage participation. ICAC is the Iron Kingdom Combat Archery Competitions. Let's see, the Deputy Society Marshal for Rapier Combat states that during this quarter, there were 3 reportable instances of marshals needing to realign with conventions. She commends the individuals who exhibited courage and even headedness to note and amend the situation, and the individuals who then changed their behavior. She also wishes to commend the marshals who are running tournaments despite wanting to participate in them. The Deputy Society Marshal for Siege Weapons would like to give kudos to those who have taken advantage of the downtime for construction of new engines and authorizing new engineers. The Deputy Society Marshal for Target Archery and Thrown Weapons would like to offer the following commendations. High praise and thanks to Master Edward for pulling together an archery range at West Kingdom Crown when the venue was changed at the last minute. Thanks for the service of Countess Abilene, the outgoing Mid-Rum Kingdom Archery Marshal. He would like to thank Marshal at Large Elena O'Keefe for their many years of service. Elena recently passed after extended illness. Thanks are sent for 411th Dundi and Ishiyama Gentaru Yori, excuse me, for their absolute kindness and generosity, for their time and skills to create thrown weapons badges and give them to the populace. Thanks to Baron Sonori for becoming a freshly warranted thrown weapons marshal. Thanks for Gunther Valdemir for continuing in the Kingdom Officer position even after his term has come to an end. The Deputy Society Marshal for Youth Combat would like to commend several Kingdoms Deputy Youth Combat Marshals who have continued to work hard through the COVID challenge and deserve a lot of praise. Senri Ornsdottir of Eldemir, Miyamoto Tomasa of Trimaris, Albert de Elster of North Shield, and Count Fergus of Avicall. Also, God, that's why I picked Ray as my name. It's easy. Eltrine Tin Eleniki of Anglesborough of the East Kingdom continues to help keep youth combat interest going when the young warriors are wanting to be active again. On tier, Kingdom Earl Marshal Elena Lazary would like to offer commendations to Decimus Marcus, Gavinus Britannicus, Sir Inar, Sir Mikolai, and are you coming over here to help me?
I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Jawiga, who dealt with the situation with Sir Thorkel with very high level of professionalism and compassion for him, his wife, and everyone present, and made sure she was promptly and thoroughly informed about what happened. And Althea would also like to offer commendations for Arcos, who is her Deputy Earl Marshal in the Principality of Tirray, and has had to write lengthy set of procedures on how to resume martial activities in accordance with detailed expectations for the province of British Columbia's health department rules, and then train all the branch of marshals and seneschals with those procedures. In publishable summary, there were quite a few injuries reported this quarter. Make sure to check your weapons and armor to make sure they are in good repair. While everyone is getting back into the swing of being out there, please continue to stay safe and follow your local government and kingdom mandates. There are a couple of positions that will open up soon, and I will be taking resumes. The first position is for a Deputy Society Marshal for target archery and thrown weapons, and also for a emergency replacement deputy for my position. Those should get posted on SCA.org, so I'll look for those as well. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ray, for your very creative pronunciation of all those many varied names. You bring a note of jocularity to our meetings, and we thank you for this. And
you're welcome.
It's my pleasure. By consensus, the board accepts the report of the Society Earl Marshal, and thank you for the important work that you are doing. We have 6G, the Minister of Arts and Sciences. Have Richard or Bart? I believe that is you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will be Richard's last report. He's done a very excellent job and has had an extremely long tenure. I know he's looking forward to a break, but we all really appreciate all the hard work that he's given the society and everything that he's done to help ANS do great. So he has no requested board actions, no policy interpretations at this time, no new policies, and he has a few commendations that I'd like to read. First, we would like to thank and offer commendations to all the Kingdom Arts and Sciences officers for really stepping up to the plate and throwing themselves into the virtual world of arts and sciences. A kudos to the Barony of Lions Gate for their online discussions, Lions Den, which have been extremely successful. Mistress Malkin of Artemisia has been teaching classes in many different online venues and doing a marvelous job. Ramon de Javier has also been doing a lot of teaching and is a constant cheerleader for the arts and sciences, encouraging many in Artemisia and beyond. The Honorable Lord Oswin of Bothan has been absolute amazing organizer and manager of the online RUM for the Mid-Realm. Thanks again to Mistress Ellen DeLacy for her continued support of online ANS socials and meridiers. Mistress Eliette Delacourt and Lady Shinjo Takame continue to run regular online activities for dance and bardic respectively. Master Francois Henri Gaillon ran a series of lamp working classes over several weeks in Politorcopolis has been, which proved so popular, it will likely become a regular monthly activity once in-person activities resume. Lady Kathleen Berghart, the ANS Officer of St. Florian's, is to be commended for her enthusiastic engagement with all aspects of ANS in her barony. And Joanna Stafford, a newcomer of Inspar, has been proclaimed baronial ANS champion after making an entire 12th century outfit and competition-winning Elizabethan needlework for her first event. Those are his commendations. Richard, we will be missed in your position, but your lengthy commendations have always been a bright spot to everybody that you've given them to. So I just want to say, even though it's difficult to say all those names, it's really great that you're so passionate about giving back to everybody. That's the conclusion of his report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Bart, and thank you, Richard, for your dedicated service in the arts and sciences of the Society. Moving on to 6H, standing committees. The Peerage Committee, there's no report. They are waiting for the survey, peerage proposal survey to be completed, which, and I'll put in a plug for that. There currently is a new peerage proposal survey that is out. Please take a look at sca.org under the announcements to find out more news about that and how to participate in the survey. And I will make an announcement here that the survey is run on the SCA.org website. You'll have to go to the members only section and log in with your account on SCA.org. If you are having trouble doing this, you can contact the corporate office, and Louise will be happy to work you through the steps. You do not need to be a member to participate in the poll, but you do need to have an account on sca.org in the members section for sca.org. And as I said, you don't need a paid membership to do this, but if you are having trouble logging in, then please contact the corporate office. The peerage, I will note also that the peerage proposal survey, new peerage proposal survey is late, and I know a lot of you have been looking for that. It just takes there are a lot of different moving parts within the Society, the President's office, the Communications officer, things that are going on within the board to try to make sure we get sort of a clear path to get this peerage proposal survey out. So I appreciate the patience of all the participants waiting for the peerage proposal. There's too many P's in this sentence for the proposal survey to come out. The survey should be active for 2 weeks, and your participation is indeed requested. This is part of a continuing concept that we're trying to make use of our ability to communicate effectively in order to gauge the feeling of the participants in the Society. So your participation is indeed requested and appreciated. So we thank you for that. Also on the standing committees is the Census Committee. I don't believe we have Juliana here with us, so I will present the report of the Census Committee. Good members of the board, good day to you all. Here and please find my report of the work of the 2020 Census Committee for the October meeting 2021. Please let me know if you need or desire any additional information. Requested board actions, none. Policy and interpretations, none. New policies, none. Commendations, none. General status report, the qualitative analysis has been delayed as a gentle who is working on it for us has run into real life issues. They are regrouping to figure it out. Publishable summary. The 2020 SCA Census is pleased to announce that the Kingdom of Seneschals or individuals authorized by the Seneschal can request data from the census by completing the online form at, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the online form, but you can see it in the report, and you'll, I believe this will be part of the President's report. Is that correct, Mr. Fulton?
Is this, which part of the report is this listed?
It's the publishable summary. It's listed under the publishable summary.
It most certainly will be in there, yes.
There will be a link that you can follow there. The request will be communicated to the chair of the 2020 SCA Census Committee and tracked over time to document where the census data / reports have been shared. Reports will include statistical and qualitative information in summary form and will not contain any personally identifiable information. Sincerely, Julia Smith. Mr. Chairman, this concludes the report of the Census Committee. The chairman thanks the chair of the 2020 Census Committee for her report, and on behalf of the board accepts the report. And I think the only thing left under 6 reports is a social media committee. I don't believe you have a report from the social media committee. So that actually ends section 6 on reports. Moving on to item number 7, executive limited session. Leslie, do you want to handle this one?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The executive session was opened on Saturday, October 23rd, 2021 at 2:52 p.m. Central Time and adjourned at 5:52 p.m. Central Time. Lee Cochran. Director Craig Carter recused himself from acting on this matter. Motion by Gigi Colson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Lee Cochran, effective immediately. Second by Natalie Degerstrom. In favor, Gigi Colson, Natalie Degerstrom, Dale Fong Frederick, Ross Rogner. Opposed, none. Recused, Craig Carter. Absent, Jennifer Krochmal. Chairman Dan Watson exercised his option to vote and did so in favor of the motion. Motion carried. Faunus Michael Doney. Motion by Dale Fong Frederick to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Faunus Michael Doney, effective immediately. Second by Craig Carter. Opposed, none. Absent, Jennifer Krochmal. Motion carried. Hayes Holland. Motion by Ross Rogner to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Hayes Holland, effective immediately. Second by Dale Fong Frederick. Opposed, none. Absent, Jennifer Krochmal. Motion carried. George Parker. Director Gigi Colson recused herself from acting on this matter. Motion by Dan Watson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to George Parker, effective immediately. Second by Ross Rogner. Opposed, none. Recused, Gigi Colson. Absent, Jennifer Krochmal. Motion carried. Bear with me just a minute. I need to make a note here. Newton Scott. Motion by Jennifer Colson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Newton Scott, effective immediately. Second, excuse me, I have the wrong second on there. Fix that. Second by Dale Fong Frederick. Opposed, none. Absent, Jennifer Krochmal. Motion carried. Charles Spence. Motion by Dale Fong Frederick to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Charles Spence, effective immediately. Second by Natalie Degerstrom. Opposed, none. Motion, excuse me, absent, Jennifer Krochmal. Motion carried. David Mitchell. This item was returned to the Society Seneschal for additional work. October 24th, 2021, subsidiaries, action by written consent. By consensus, all actions for the subsidiaries of the Society for Creative Anachronism are accepted by consent. Director resignation. By consensus, the resignation of Craig Carter as a member of the Board of Directors for the Society for Creative Anachronism is accepted as of the close of the October 24th, 2021 quarterly meeting. Director appointment. By consensus, the appointment of Pug Boehner as a member of the Board of Directors for the Society for Creative Anachronism is accepted at the close of the October 24th, 2021 quarterly meeting. Director selection seat F. By consensus, no action was taken. Chairman assignment. By consensus, no action was taken. Vice chairman assignment. By consensus, no action was taken. Ombudsman assignments. The following assignments are accepted as of the close of the October 24th, 2021 quarterly meeting. Chairman Dan Watson, Ombudsman 4, President, Society Seneschal, Corporate Office, Executive Assistant, Financial Officers, Financial Committee, Peerage Committee. Vice Chairman Dale Von Frederick, Ombudsman 4, Ontier, Anstiora, Glenavon, Tri-Ameris. Director Pug Boehner, Ombudsman 4, Heralds, East, Kaid, West, Census Committee. Director Gigi Colson, Ombudsman 4, Ethelmark, Avacall, Dragonbolt, Eldemir, Locock, DEI, Social Media Committee. Director Natalie Degerstrom, Ombudsman 4, Atlantia, Meridies, Middle Marshall, Board Recruiting. Director Jennifer Krochmal, Ombudsman 4, Palantir, North Shield, Outlands, Communications Committee and Information Technology, including Webminister and Webmaster. Director Ross Robner, Ombudsman 4, Artemisia Aidendelt, ANS, Publications, including TI, CA, and the Chronicler's Office. And Mr. Chairman, that ends your minutes from your executive session.
Thank you very much, Leslie. With this, we're going to take a short break. We're going to go over the questions that were received in the Q&A, and we'll be back at, let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break, and we'll be back at the top of the hour. All right, I want to thank everyone, and we'll be back at 2 o'clock Central Time, or 3 o'clock Central Time. Thank you very much.
Yes.
You're still in.
Yeah, you're all in. I heard every one of you.
They didn't close the meeting. You're still professional. Well, enough.
Plug, your mic is hot.
I'm talking to Craig.
Oh, okay.
Okay, looks like we are mostly here. Shep is not here unless he's just paused his camera, but looks like everyone else has gotten active. Oh, Shep is here. I apologize for that. We're having some back and forth here with Louise's power going on and not on, but looks like we do have all the questions answered that were in the Q&A. But we still have a couple of items left. I guess we have one big item left. Before we get to that, though, I'd just like to thank all of the people that are out there for showing up and listening to this SCA quarterly meeting. This is an experiment that we tried in conjunction with the fact that we can't have in-person meetings, quarterly meetings, and we're getting actually pretty comfortable with this format of making sure that it gets out there. This is a new thing over the past year or so, and feel like it's working out for us, and we're getting more and more comfortable with it every time that we do it. I'd like to thank everyone that is out there, all the local seneschals and leaders and territorial barons and local officers, everyone that is out there keeping this hobby going during these COVID times. And I'm very relieved, along with many of you, that we're starting to see in-person events again and things opening up. It's not the end of the tunnel yet, but we can sort of see the end of the tunnel, and it's looking better every day. And so with our fingers crossed and our careful participation in events, making sure that we are all as safe as possible, then we should see a return to full SC activities in the coming future, in the not too distant future. I would encourage all the members of the SCA who can and who are eligible to get the vaccine as quickly as possible. I think that the vaccine is the way through this pandemic, and we, along with the rest of our society worldwide, need to do our part in to see the end of this pandemic and to move on with our lives as close to normal as possible. We have one last item of business, and that is goodbye to our director, Craig Carter, who's been, among other things, chairman of the board, was the chairman of the board before I was, has done an exemplary job as a director and as a board chairman. We have looked to him for leadership, and he has not failed us in the slightest. He continues to be a source of information for us and a source of calmness and stability in a storm. And we are forever grateful for the work that you have put in for us, Craig. And please join me in thanking him for the time that he has put on the board. He's done a fantastic job. And now I would like to pass the virtual gavel over to Craig for the end of the meeting. Craig, the floor is yours.
Floor is mine, like hostage theater here. I like that. Well, thanks everybody. It's been a wild, almost 4 years. Like as Dan was indicating, I was privileged to be able to be the chairman of the board for almost 2 years during my tenure. I just have, I don't have words for the way I feel. The honor that was given to me, the privilege that was given to me to serve in this capacity, the society that I so much love. And I'm just humbled, and I'm just astonished by the hard work that goes into governance of the society at a corporate level. And I'd like to just say that in particular, I've been incredibly impressed by the group of officers that I've had the opportunity to work alongside. In particular, most closely, John and Leslie Fulton, I really appreciate the advice, the assistance, the camaraderie provided by you guys. I've absolutely appreciated everything you've done for me, and I really, and you know, it hasn't gone unnoticed. Leslie Luther Fulton, I mean, as you know, was certainly somebody who, as I stepped up to being the chairman, along with Renee Signorati, who is not on the call today, but was equally involved in mentoring the young chairman of the board as I was trying to learn how to do that job. Again, I really appreciate all your help throughout these years. I'd also like to just to say, you know, special thank you to my partners in crime and jackassery, Patrick Anderson and Rusty Lloyd. Really have appreciated getting to know you guys and working alongside both of you. I think that it wouldn't have been the same without you. And honestly, all of the directors I've worked alongside and with over these years, it's been a wild, unprecedented time. I mean, it's really difficult to have a board of directors only meet online with the weighty things that these directors and officers need to work alongside and with at the same time as a pandemic. Now, it's caused by the pandemic, but I mean, they're two somewhat separate things. And I can't say enough to anybody about the hard and constant work and dedication that the board of directors and the society officers put in to try to continue this game for another 55 years. So thanks everybody for putting up with me for the last 4 years. I plan on sending many of you weird things in the mail because that's what I do. And I will, again, thanks a lot. And I really appreciate it. And with this gavel, I guess, with it, I now hereby close this this meeting of the board of directors. Thank you.